more losses coming in, I think that's gonna help a lot with our, and we intentionally re-looked at this account this year. I had my underwriters take a look at this account and yeah, everyone agrees everything's going in the right direction, so.
But it's, if we do the discount for 4 or 5 years or whatever, we're locked in.
You are locked in, absolutely. So, and 1% doesn't make a huge difference. It's that between 1 and 2 years makes a huge difference, because if you go at that last year and you want to go back out for bids again, you're going to drop from 4% down to 2% next year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
So
always.
what you want us to vote on tonight is, because we have to have that done by August 14th.
Correct. Yeah.
Is the length of it.
That's correct.
We can change our deductibles at any point in time.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, between now and the 1st of October. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I guess you could ask the attorney this question. Typically, it might be a city administrator that comes in and says, hey, how much money can you save me? And they'll talk to the mayor, if we change the deductible from, $500 to $1,000. Sometimes we don't even take it to council, that's just like, hey, it's a no-brainer, let's change it. So whether or not you want to vote on that tonight, great. If you don't think you need to vote on it, and everyone says, yes, let's change the deductibles to $5,000 and then $10,000 on your E&O and your law enforcement liability, we'll just make those changes and send you out a revised, and then you'll get an invoice from us once you make the decision on your resolution. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And we have till October to tell you.
On the
deductibles. If we
deductibles.
want, just on the deductibles, but we have to do August 14th.
We have to do that late.
The resolution's what you need to do tonight. And again, I'm gonna come out, and I usually sit down with all your department heads and go through your renewal. So that's when we make that decision of, and if the city council, as long as we don't have a quorum, want to sit down with me in that meeting, I'd be happy to, invite in whoever wants to be there. And then, we can look at and we do, I look at every vehicle, every piece of equipment and every piece of property that we insure at that renewal. So
Right now, we're in the process of maybe, and I'm saying maybe, having a new swimming pool built in the next couple of years. So we'd have to contact you to get information about the pool. Sure.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's going to be a big price tag to a new swimming pool. I mean, insurance wise too.
Yeah.
Just to give you kind of a rough estimate of what it's going to cost for every $1 million we insure, is probably going to be between $4,500 to $5,000 for every $1 million.
Okay.
So if those aren't cheap. That's something that a lot of councils forget about, is insuring those too.
Yeah.
Typically, we don't insure the concrete. The older pools will insure liners, but the concrete, its base itself, we don't. But all your equipment, any of the accessories outside, fencing, those type of things will insure, and of course the building.
Right.
So, and we'll have our person come out. Typically I get together with your engineer and just say, hey, if we had a catastrophic storm come through, because it's, some of those items can be pulled out of the surface too. So, and depending on how you bond it, you potentially, the bonding company may require a certain amount of insurance on that, even though it's concrete.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. It's just something that we need to keep in the back of our
Keep in
mind.
the back of your head, yeah, and I don't know, you're probably talking minimum $5 million for a pool anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to think that was an insane amount of money for a pool.
Yeah,
Now it's like, that's a minimum amount of money for a pool, is $5 million.
you're right.
So, yeah. But yeah, and then the other thing too is usually whoever, is going to build that pool,
Mhm.
will typically carry the builder's risk insurance while it's being, built. I mean, we can insure it. It's cheaper for us to insure it, but typically when your bids come in, those contractors are including insurance while that pool is being built, and then we take it over once you occupy it.
Okay,
So, yeah.
thank you.
That's start to finish, the cover to the pool. start to finish, correct?
The contractor would cover that, yes. Yes, typically. You know, with LARM, you do have automatic coverage. So if you're gonna build a small building, you have automatic $500,000. But, you know, let's say it's $1 million building, we can insure that. We'll take on the first $500,000 at no cost, and then we go to our reinsurance and pick up the next $500,000. So, and typically we do those in phases, so it doesn't cost your municipality as much money, so.
When you say for the pool, like 4,500 to 5,000 per million, that's annually, right?
Correct.
And then I have another question that kind of crossed my mind. He mentioned possibly if we have any vehicles under 5,000, we can drop them down to liability.
Mhm.
What's the risk in that for our city employees? Like, are they covered like physically, like if they get hurt or
Well,
injured?
They got
All your
hard comp.
liabilities are covered.
And that's
The
where-
vehicle itself is not.
And what about the other individual? Like, let's just say
If you hit,
someone wasn't paying attention
and
and,
you hurt and killed somebody,
yeah, or someone.
yeah,
got hurt.
that would be liability. So that's on the other side of things.
Okay,
So liability, you'd always have if you have liability only, you have coverage if you hit and cause damage to another person or another object.
okay.
But the physical damage to your vehicle, if it was your fault,
Like the actual
would not,
collateral.
yeah,
Okay, got
yeah, you would not be covered.
it. Okay,
The other thing too, typically, you know, you always gotta think of non-insured, motorists. So, you know, even if you get rear-ended, you're like, well, their insurance is gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. A lot of uninsured motorists out there right now,
Mine
so.
did, State Farm.
So, any other insurance questions?
No, I appreciate you.
You know, and like, I think, if you guys don't have my card, I can leave cards with you. If you have an individual question, you can call me anytime, and I can answer those questions too, if something pops up, so.
okay.
So once we tell you the deductibles by October 1,
Mhm.
those are locked in, there's no.
Now, we can change them again, we can change them anytime. Those deductibles, we can change at any point in time.
Okay.
You know, if you get to January 1st, you're like, yeah, you know what, I changed my mind, let's drop the property deductible back to $1,000. You know, we can drop that anytime. Those deductibles are, and we can add and subtract physical damage to any vehicle too. So, and increase and decrease values, any time of the year, you can do any of that, so,
Is there a limit on changes per year?
no.
Okay.
No.
Okay, council, I guess, you need to discuss and decide, do you wanna do a 3-year commitment with the 5% discount? 2-year commitment, 4% discount?
I think
Those are your only two options this year.
Yeah,
I would be in favor of the 2-year for several reasons. Is one, you have an election. If you're looking down the road, we're signing a contract that would go beyond the current mayor and stuff like that. And I just think 2% goes, there's only 1% difference in the commitment.
anybody else?
Because once you
Melanie?
gotta remember, once you lock into that, you're locked in.
Yeah, right.
But your premiums can change.
The premium still can change.
We need to decide this tonight, so. Does anybody have any other suggestions? Jimmy's suggesting the 2-year commitment with the 4% discount.
And this was the discount if this was 5.
Yeah, these are 5, your D and O and your
But we're not talking about the
Yeah.
deductibles tonight.
This is just
No,
on the.
Yeah, I
4%
understand
limit.
that. I was just,
I'd make a motion, we go 2%, 2-year commitment.
And the premium? Second.
We have a motion and a second introducing ordinance number 854 on the first reading. Is there any other discussion on it? If there's no discussion, will the city clerk please read the short title?
Ordinance number 854, an ordinance of the city of Valley, Nebraska, amending ordinance number 580 as codified in section 34.02 of the municipal code, pertaining to contracts, purchases, and bidding, and other requirements, repealing code sections, ordinances, and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for a severability clause, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, please vote. All in favor? Is there a desire to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance on the second and third reading?
I make a motion to pass on their second and third reading.
Second.
If there is no further discussion, please vote. All in favor? Ordinance number 854 passes on the second and third reading. I'm going to number 12, resolution number 2026-31. Consideration and action to adopt policies and procedures to govern procurement transactions conducted by the city. Any discussion on it? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 2026-31.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-31.
I'll second.
Vote please. All in favor? Resolution number 2026-32. Consideration and action authorizing and directing the following issue to be placed on the ballot of the Nebraska general election to be held on November 3rd, 2026 to wit option 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we need to figure out what option we're going with.
Okay, so there might be some benefit to just doing a walkthrough of each of these 4 options. So option 1 is what I'll call the original draft. And just my personal feeling after I drafted that and looked at it a few times, and our treasurer pointed out an ambiguity about the language, especially with respect to whether it would permit us to use what's already in the sales tax coffers toward the pool or not. Option 1 is probably not the best option. Option 2 makes revisions to option 1. The main revision is that it clears up this issue about the date where the allocation can first apply. So you'll see in option 2, there's red line language that the 50% or up to 50% allocation toward the pool will not apply to sales tax dollars collected prior to January 1 of 2027. Instead, it would be restricted to sales tax revenue collected January 1, 2027 and after.
Okay.
All right. Option 2, you'll also see on the second page, we have some red line language there on the question itself. It's shall the city council be authorized to allocate up to 50%? And then you'll see at the end of that question, or shall the city council continue to allocate all of the local sales and use tax to water improvement and wastewater improvement projects? That or language, the or clause was added in at the meeting last night during our discussion. Option 3 removes from the question that or language. And so the question is simply, shall the city council of the city of Valley be authorized to allocate up to 50% toward the pool? And it backs out the water improvement and wastewater improvement projects language.
But you actually put that down under the no then, right?
And that is in the no explanation.
So it's still there, it's just in a different
It's
place.
still there, just in a different place. That's right. And then finally, option 4 is the same as option 3, except it adds a further explanation to the parenthetical after the yes or the in favor vote, making it clear that a yes vote means that the allocation of up to 50% toward the pool can happen, but this allocation will still maintain the city's plan to replace all critical water mains in 4 years.
And that's as of January 1st, 2027.
Yeah. And it states that up above in the first paragraph there.
Yeah, the date where the allocation would be in effect is still there, just like it is in option 2.
For us to have this in the ballot for November, do we have to make a decision on this today? correct?
Yes.
That's what I
Yes.
thought. There's a deadline?
Unless you want to schedule a special meeting later this month, it needs to be done tonight, because the deadline to certify this to the election commissioner is September 1.
September 1. Okay. I prefer option 4. I think it's very clear to any citizen reading this at the ballot where their sales tax is going and whether any option they choose. I think it's very clear.
Option 3 and 4 are the same, other than while maintaining the plan to replace the critical water mains in 4 years.
Mhm.
I thought, no. We had a 5-year plan. Are we a year through it, or has it always been a 4-year plan?
It's been a four, always been a
It's
four.
a 4-year phase.
It's always been 4.
The 4th year is Ginger Cove.
I just want the citizens to know, like I said last night, that exactly how the tax dollars work right now, the sales tax, that it's all going toward water treatment. And if they're gonna vote for the pool, they're opting to split that, and half is gonna go toward the pool. So 3 and 4 both do that. I prefer 3, but I that's just me, but I can take either 3 or 4.
I like 4 because it makes it clear that there's still a plan in place. Because reading some public comments, I saw that concern come up multiple times. Was what about the water? What about the water? And this says, this is also solidifying there is still a plan in place for the water.
I take putting a time period on it.
And I'll also say that in the details, so just to be clear, like on number 4, what the ballot will include is everything that starts with the word proposition,
Mhm.
all the way down to the end of the parenthetical after the no vote, right?
Mhm.
So that's a good half to 2/3 of the page. All that in quotes will be on the ballot. I say that because that includes the details of the allocation, and there's, notwithstanding the parentheticals after the yes and the no vote, there's already statements in the details that the allocation, even if made, shall not impede the city's 4-year program to replace critical water mains throughout the city.
Mhm.
So these parentheticals after the yes and no vote just really restate that. In a sense, it's redundant, but a lot of people maybe don't read all of the details of the allocation. They're more likely to read what follows, the yes and no when they circle the box. So I think it's good to
So
have the parentheticals there. And option 4, I guess I'll say treats the parentheticals equally, right? I mean, because you have the no parenthetical accentuating that everything will go toward the water improvement and wastewater improvement projects if it's no, but then you have the yes parenthetical that offsets that and accentuates that even if we do the allocation, we'll still maintain our plan to replace the critical water mains.
Mhm.
I will say that, and I think we all know this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, not a great look to have this kind of promise on the ballot and then not be able to follow through. So I just want to make sure
Right.
that's what I was,
that we're gonna be able to follow through if we have that language in there.
I would put while maintaining the city's plan to replace all critical water mains. Take out the 4 years. that's our goal, that's the plan. Plans sometimes get bumped, but I don't know, I mean, they're gonna hold us to it.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
people
But I can
service
live with
and,
either
and
3 or 4.
Greg, our city engineer, can you guys chime in on this? I mean, it's a 4-year plan. This is what we put forward. Are we going to be able to maintain it?
That's our goal.
I mean, with weather permitting and any disaster like this last weekend with everything going kaput.
Yeah, I guess I'd probably echo what Jimmy's saying is that you don't know if there's any natural disaster, material shortages, anything. Just think of like COVID, how it threw a wrench in everything. Something like that, that would throw the timeline off slightly and just maintain with the city council meetings that there is still the 4-year plan, but it's just not documented on the ballot as clearly as you might want.
Just in case for uncontrollables.
Yeah.
So you think we should take the 4 years?
Yes, take it off. Because of the unforeseen, as he just mentioned.
You're putting a timeline on something.
And so we're going to need to remove it in the details then too.
Yeah, where it just says in 4 years. We're still maintaining the water lines. They want to keep that part in there, just in the 4 years. Removed, right? Am I understanding that right?
That's just something we're going to put in there.
4 years.
Or if you took out the in 4 years, or you could put critical water mains as projected in our plan, as, you know, moving forward.
I would just say, I would just leave it period at water main period.
So that,
Bottom line, simpler the better on these ballot things. Regardless of this one, you always sit there and you have to read it 3 times.
Mhm.
So if any words or phrases that can be removed, I would say simpler.
So-
And then you get people that, there's this question and 3 or 4 after it, and that somebody's either all yes, 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 or no, no, no.
so
It happens.
can we make a motion to approve option 4, but in the 3rd paragraph, remove the 4-year program? And then in the yes, remove the 4 years as well?
Wherever it says 4 years.
That's the 2 places that I see.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're being clear about this, so. in the
I just
details
think with that not in there, people are gonna wonder, so we took that out, what is our timeline? You know, is it gonna change? You can't do a what if. I don't think, that's just me.
Well, are we just removing the
4
4
year.
years, so the details will say
Everything's the same.
this allocation shall not impede the city's program to replace critical water mains throughout the city? And then in the yes, parenthetical, it's while maintaining the city's plan to replace all critical water mains? Is that, Melanie, what you're proposing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, like, 2019 hit this town hard. And then you have that big tornado in 2024. And it's like, we can't predict those. It literally, honestly, when it's in those scenarios, for someone who's done 3 natural disasters since 2014, it's not about so much these projects. The main concern is making sure people have housing and food and clothing. That becomes a priority. So if a timeline on this restricts us, if a natural disaster happens and it gets delayed by 6 months, that's a non-controllable.
I like that, replace while maintaining the critical water mains, just take out in 4 years, and it's less on the ballot, it's explained.
What do you think, Mike?
I like leaving the 4 years in, because I think it really misses a punch.
Yeah.
A commitment. Because you just say, the plan, they don't know what the plan is, that 10 years, is that 15 years? But to have an actual time frame in there, I think it's important.
Is there any
I think
like,
it's a lot.
like one of those, like you said, the 4-year time, but in hopes there's no.
If there's a natural disaster,
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
people
that's-
understand
Yeah.
that.
But these gentlemen are also talking, you know, I'd take it out, and they're the ones actually doing the work.
Okay, I have a question. Is the current plan 4 years?
Yes.
We approved
That
it.
was always approved by
Okay.
council.
4 years from like now, or 4 years from,
A couple months ago.
okay, so 4 years from now, so a couple months isn't that big a deal. So if that's the current plan, or what if we say, while maintaining the city's current plan to replace all critical water mains in 4 years? And this allocation shall not impede the city's
And that,
current
and that's fine if,
4-year program.
if people know what the current program and plan is.
That's the thing, they're not gonna know unless it's there.
Probably have the same concern like when we approved the 4-year plan. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
okay, we approved this,
how
but
can-
those concerns are still there. You
Is
know,
there any,
they're always there.
is there a liability if we aren't able to do it in 4 years and ends up being 5 years? Like
No,
if someone comes back?
No,
No.
I just think it's, you know, what's more palatable, you know, with the public, because I don't think you wanna make promises on a ballot question that we can't live up to. But, you know, we're talking about natural disasters and, you know, large catastrophic events.
which everybody would
I-
understand.
Yes, I think everybody would understand that. I think the idea of the ballot question is, there's nothing about the sales tax allocation that would impact the 4-year plan, right? So
Right,
natural disasters might,
Mhm.
but there's nothing about the allocation that would impede it.
no,
Those funds will still fund the project.
right,
If there's a delay in inventory, if there's a delay in,
right.
So,
The funds will still be there for it.
then that speaks exactly to it. It all depends on how you
so
interpret it.
in the details, again, that it's this allocation shall not impede. So I can argue this either way.
Well, you're splitting hairs here, guys.
I just
I-
hate
that's the whole
putting- I
problem.
just hate putting a timeline on something. If you wanna leave it that way, that's fine. I mean, you're putting a timeline on something.
It keeps people informed rather than wondering down the road how, when this is gonna be completed.
My
That's
number
right.
one thing that people knew how the sales tax was currently and how we're changing it. And that was satisfied in the language, so.
I mean, like, based on the way that you just argue it, you're just sticking to the topic. Topic is sales tax. It's the money. Where is it going?
Yeah.
Not about all the other things that can get involved into delaying this. We are just promising them, your money is going here.
Mhm.
Yes, there's 100 different variables, but we can't define all of that, or this will be a 20-page resolution. So I think we just stick to the basics. This is your money. This is where it's going.
What did you say before, Matt? Before-
Which time? Which time?
Yeah, it's like, about, I can't remember what he said, I was hoping you'd remember, but,
That it's not the sales tax that would impede the
yeah, it was just, yeah.
or compliance with the 4-year plan, that it might be natural disasters. And
Yeah, I think, yeah, more along the lines of that, if there's another way to still keep the 4 years, but
Might have to-
after
well,
you
the
explain it
one was
fully,
current,
Yeah.
to use.
the current,
Put
yeah,
in
that
the
was
term
current,
current, that we have
yeah.
a current 4-year plan.
That's, I like.
I do like current, so we just modify it, add the word current.
I don't mind that at all.
It's consistent with what we passed a few months ago.
That's fine.
Okay, someone needs to put a motion out there.
Okay, I make a motion to approve option number 4 for resolution number 2026-32 with the modification of adding the word current before 4 years. Or current city plan of 4 years or something like that.
It's, well, maintaining the city's current plan.
Yeah,
Taking the 4 years out.
No, we're gonna keep the 4 years
Keep
in.
keep the 4 years
Okay.
in.
So it's gonna
Just put
say,
current 4-year plan.
or
All right.
current before, well,
Instead of in,
the
it's gonna
city's
be current.
current.
Yes, I'll second that.
Vote please. All in favor?
Holy biscuits.
Okay, you know what you gotta do?
Yeah, Yeah, and just for the sake of transparency, I'll also say that I'm going to end the yes, the parenthetical, just for consistency. These are minor revisions, but I'm going to capitalize cities there. And water mains, I think, is probably 2 words. And I'll probably spell the word for instead of the number.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
all right. Well, that was a long one.
We definitely went down a rabbit hole.
Yes, we did. All right, moving on. Get down here.
Oh.
Okay, we're going to discuss now Gibbs Land Development LLC South and Business Park, consideration and approval for preliminary plat.
I'll do a brief overview for everybody, kind of as a follow-up to the Planning Commission meeting on this development. This is the first northern piece of the 14 acres north of West Street, south side of 275, east side of 64, north of the dental office, I guess is the easiest way I always say it. This is already zoned C3, so that there is no rezoning request here tonight. This is just a platting and subdividing of the 14 acres. That would take it into 28 parcels. 27 parcels would be on the first phase. 28 lot 28 is basically their phase 2 development portion of that. So it's almost half and half of that if you're looking at it area wise. So no access to Highway 64 or 275 will be allowed. That's very fundamental for that. And then all of the access will come off of that 277th cul-de-sac that was stubbed off back in 2021. So, yeah, so preliminary plat on this item. Of course, we do have the final plat that will take care of the lots. This is a unique platting. If you look at it, some lot lines they were doing, this is all based on ownership of these bays. These are like, kind of like, if you look at the Waterloo, it's kind of those flex multi-function bay buildings that are, say, 6 units long, and then somebody can rent 2 buildings, or 2 units, 1 unit, 6 units, the whole building, those kind of things. So that's what the flexibility on that is, some of the ownership stuff that they are working on. So with that, I guess I'll happy to answer any questions that you might have. Preferably not about any of the building stuff, because I don't know any of that stuff.
Preferably about what?
None of the building stuff.
So on I watched this on the planning board, but on the north 277th circle, is it gonna go back in front of the dentist office, and there'll be a cul-de-sac there and they'll run in?
It'd be the existing cul-de-sac that's there in front of the dental office. Everything would access to that point.
Access to that point.
Yep.
Is this Gibbs Land Development? Have they done developments here before? No.
In Valley, no, not to my knowledge. No.
So if you approve one, I know it checked all the boxes and did all that at planning board, but there's 2 plats, so it's 2 different parts. Are they gonna build on one and do that and then go to the next?
So basically, yeah, their preliminary plat, they gave us a preliminary plat of the entire thing, of all of this north 14 acres, excuse me, and then they're final platting the west half, if you will. That's kind of their phase 1 or their first pieces that they'll build. Hang on a second. It's 5 buildings, I believe. So they might still only build like 3, but they won't have to come back for a platting procedure right away. If they build 3 buildings and I don't know how long these take, say 3 months, and then they'll sell out or rent out, however they look at that, then they can build the next 2 buildings without having to go through a platting process again. But then they would still come back on the phase 2 for a final plat.
It'd just be nice to see how they do on one before you approve both, since they've never built here.
Yeah, that's developer risk there, yeah. So
If they're, sorry, go ahead. No.
I mean, when you have 2 plats, it'd be nice to approve one and see how they do.
Well,
And we have no history with them aesthetically, timing wise, mess, whatever it may be.
I guess two things is you're approving just the preliminary plat, that's the first item, and then the final plat. So the preliminary plat just says, here's our intention, our plan intention for the property, so that's kind of the why they're doing that. But then they are moving forward with final platting of that first piece, just so they can get building permits, and then once those are done, they can theoretically sell off bays if they're going to sell them off. But the, Jimmy, the other part would be is this, the commercial design standards do apply to all commercial properties, so those do apply even though it still is within our old highway corridor overlay stuff, so those are still applying, so they still have brickstone glass. What's that?
No, you're right, yeah.
I think it's those architectural features where it's breaking up the facades, it's not a traditional like Morton building or just plain Jane metal building, those kinds of things are all, they all know that. They did have, I don't know, did any of that stuff get put in the packet? The
Pictures.
Pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're under
I didn't pull
15.
that up,
Yeah.
so they did include some of those
Right.
renderings of the buildings, sections and stuff like that, so just for that
They
clarity.
said they were gonna put landscaping and all that around it. I
Yeah.
didn't hear them talk about that.
Yeah.
What I'm confused about is, explain that, so we're approving a preliminary plat and then a final plat. So we're only, it's still one project, not two different plats.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
The final plat's just a portion of the preliminary plat.
And they'll have to come back for that, the second part.
Right,
For
right.
final.
Okay.
Like phase one,
That's what I
phase
was
two.
asking.
Yes, correct.
Will all the buildings look the same with the, or is it, at one time they talked about, the front buildings where people could see, you know, they'll have the brick front, but then the ones you can't see don't have that. I don't know, I was just asking.
That, none of that actually moved forward on those design standard changes that were
Yeah.
last October.
Okay.
Yeah, they never went forward.
That stuff hasn't moved forward.
Okay,
I think these buildings will look very similar, but I think there's a couple options of if they're drive-through, if you will, on garage doors on both sides versus just garage door on one side.
yeah, okay.
Those kind of things, I think, to Jimmy's point, I think that market's going to dictate some of that too.
And I think, I watched the planning commission as well, they said they might have their own like security group out there.
Yeah.
It's a lot gate community, like getting in, you have to have a passcode coming in, is that right?
I remember him talking about that, but I don't remember exactly what the final plan was, but they do have their own security, consultant staff, whatever, how you want to say that, yes.
A lot of it was, it's flex-based, so it's.
Okay, we need to open a
Daycare, one
public
could
hearing
be
on this.
someone's rental garage.
We're gonna go ahead and open the public hearing on this. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, we'll close the public hearing at this time. I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Oh, second.
Vote please.
I'll sustain.
3 in favor, 1 abstain. Okay, number 15 is the Gibbs Land Development LLC Falcon Business Park. Consideration and approval of final plat. Any more discussion on it? Open the public hearing. Anyone like to speak? Close the public hearing. Motion to approve the final plat.
Make a motion to approve the final plat.
I'll second.
Vote please.
I'll sustain again.
3 in favor, 1 abstain. Thank you. City engineer.
Just briefly on that, then, city attorney Munderloh and I will work on a subdivision agreement for this project then as well. There'll be some documentation, stuff that we have to get ironed out, so. Which is common to do right on the heels of final plat, so, all right. With that, item A, water treatment plant expansion of Erickson Construction. Tonight we do have change order number 4. That does include a contract price increase of $27,061.40. That included 3 items with a door hardware, pump extension, and actuator modifications that we had to do for the plant. In general, we're within about 2 weeks of getting this fired up. We had a conversation with the state to get the state inspection scheduled, which we'll work on with People Service as well, but that'd be something that we're, I'd say hopefully by Labor Day, it's gonna be able to pump some water, but we might not be pumping that into the system yet, but it'll be able to pump water. They're working on the final really controls now and getting everything to communicate electronically, which is above my head. So, that's also, sorry, I should have said, is also had 60 days to the contract. If you recall, I think it was in June, I did pull that date out of my, up right away. We did include the existing water treatment plant repainting of that project for about $116,000. They have done about 70% of that work, but we need to get the new plant operational, and they're gonna make sure all the kinks are worked out. And we're gonna shut the other plant down to do the final pieces of the repainting that gets into the filter room, that we can't have that stuff being in the air when we're having treating water. So this does extend the contract completion then out for a substantially be 60 days, which does align with September 1st, which again, the plant then should be operational, and then it does push the final completion out to November 1st. And that should give them enough time, 30 to 60 days, to get this final repainting of the plant filter room done.
Okay, I need a motion for approval to change order number 4 for an increase in the amount of $27,061.40.
I make a motion to approve change order number 4.
I'll second.
Vote please. All in favor? Resolution number 2026-33. Consideration and action to approve contractor's application for payment number 19 in the amount of $784,799.36.
Again, this is just a progress payment for the work performed. You'll notice this amount actually went up a little bit from some of the previous months if you're ever tracking the monthly draws. Basically, the retainage on the contract went down from 10% to 5%. That's basically in accordance with the Nebraska prompt payment law, whatever that was passed 10 years ago. So that's a good chunk of this $784,000. So with that, I'll have to answer any other questions.
So they changed the law on retainers from 10 to 5%.
Once you're past 50% complete of construction. It's a very nightmarish formula.
Okay, I'm looking for action to approve contractor's application for payment number 19 in the amount of $784,799.36 for resolution number 2026-33.
I make a motion to pay payment number 19.
Second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Item B then is the FY26 water main replacement project with Berber Construction. Tonight we do have the contractor's application for payment number 2, the amount of $88,982.37. That's just for work performed, and this is primarily along Richmond Road. I think I've told you guys a couple times is that I think this is one of the harder stretches that we'll have on the project, so they are moving along. They have been pulled off on this project. Jimmy and I were talking briefly about this before the meeting. Is yes, we've had some rain days, but then too, you have to remember that we've had some extremely hot days as well, so that does take a toll on these outside workers. So some people might be like, this isn't moving as fast as we think, but we also have then thirdly found some unforeseen new to us water line information. So we are figuring that out, so that's always fun. And again, we've had some water main breaks on this project, aside from the other stuff that's happened even over the weekend. But some of those have occurred just from hitting stuff that was not known where it's at. So we do just continue to ask for the patience for the residents of water outages and stuff like that. Those have occurred. We plan the ones we can plan, but the other ones that we don't know where things are at, we just don't know where they're at. So just continue to remind everybody that there are situations like that that have come up here on this project. So happy to answer any other questions if you guys have anything.
I've been impressed with the little interruption of traffic flow and everything else with the scope of the project.
I think over the next week, you'll see a lot of the concrete start going back in on some of these intersections like Spruce, that'll kind of open up some of these congested points, and especially, some of the stuff right around Casey's that people are going in and out of. We've got some of this the first 2 blocks from Walnut to Locust to Spruce have already been pressure tested, so they will get the concrete going back on those now too. So that will help the general public get around in the area, so.
Since we're talking about water main replacements, I think we need to have a discussion about maybe one of the 5 or 6 that we approved to have done this year be moved to next year, and then we addressed behind NP Mart to the Y, because in 2 days, it broke twice.
3 times.
Three
Mr.
times.
Adair,
So we're paying for all these repairs. We need to just replace that and be done with it.
it's uncommon for the water line to have this many issues with it only being 25 years old.
I know.
So, but it's something we will look at. You know, I agree with you.
Well, we can't just keep paying for repairs.
No, 100%. We are working on the FY20, I get these years starting mixed up when we're on the calendar years, but we are working on the 27 project. So we have the plan. We're making sure that's in line, seeing if we have any extra, if we're under or over, and can we do something over there? And then working with people service on how much of that do we need to do, can we do? So those kind of things will be evaluated here. So we can
Okay.
we can shift around here, but
We've had a lot of business interruption because of the 2 with the Y and the Casey's and everything else.
Dairy Queen, right?
And Love's, it's not really fair to their business if we can get it, come up with instead of a Band-Aid.
Yep, 100%. I don't know if it was Mike or I was talking with somebody else, but it was like, well, it could get looped ultimately, which is what normally happens in most cases. But where we're ending right now in Spruce, if you go up to Ida and around, it's a mile long, 6,000 feet to get over there to get it looped. So it's like, it can be a future plan project with some other development, potentially helping in the area that can obviously help kick in some of the funds too. So it could be still a shorter term dead end. And then we try to address the certain areas that it needs to, but then also there's a long-term plan that if it gets looped, then it doesn't have the business impacts as often, hopefully, that are occurring right now.
But you feel it's fixed all right now and it's gonna hold.
That's,
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
That's a fair question.
Is it break in the same spot?
You know, well, so on the first day, we had a hole blow in, and we fixed that one. As we clamped that one right next door, it blew another hole. And then the next day, it blew another hole a few feet from those. So it could be just that section is a bad piece of pipe that was put in 25 years ago, made a little bit weaker than the rest of it. You know, we have to look at this and also look at the budget and see how we can work this in to continue with our plan, but also address this issue so those businesses are not running out of water all the time. You know, yeah, it's maybe 25 feet between all 3 of them. But we can't just turn the water off and cut it out. It's gotta be laid next to it. You gotta splice it. It's a little bit more difficult than just replacing the water main, but we are looking into the options of getting this done within the next couple of phases.
but when we do that, at least we can tell these businesses that it's coming, so they know that they're gonna be without water, instead of having a surprise with a break in the line.
Yes,
Is there a test you could run to see if it's a defective section?
Not, probably without removing it. You could talk to a materialist, find out if it's a material item.
Yeah, because even if you put the new pipes in, if we don't fix that 25 feet, like wouldn't the water pressure go up and then you're gonna have more breaks? Like, could we essentially use like the fire extinguishers over there again? Because we couldn't really use them before, could we?
fire hydrants?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, we can use them anywhere.
I thought that main section, it was like more of a.
No, they are actually locked
They're
Yeah.
locked. So
because of the
businesses
water
can't
hammer
use them.
that people can do them, so we don't allow anybody to fill anything from them because the water hammer of them shutting a valve too fast causes water hammer. You move a bunch of water real fast and then stop it. Pressure's gotta go somewhere, and that's when you blow these mains. So we don't allow people to use them fire hydrants. Oh yeah, they're all still good fire protection and everything.
Okay.
But we are actively looking at this and trying to figure out a way so that we can make sure that they're not gonna be interrupted, you know, with things like this.
Yeah, Mike and I did a lot of talking this weekend.
Okay,
Yeah.
then.
Yeah,
What is the lifespan of the pipe normally? Is it,
Depends on who the agency is, but it usually says 60 to 100 years. So it's something in that realm.
could you throw a factor of soil, what's the makeup of the soil, acidic, whatever, all that's gotta play into that, but 60 years, I think, is what he's a smart one.
So like the 3 breaks were all within like a 20-foot section? Or
Yeah,
somewhere in there?
yeah, somewhere in there, yes, I don't know exactly, but it is a big hole every time,
Yeah.
but yeah, somewhere, I mean, it is, yeah, it's all within a 20, 30 yards, something like that.
Yards and feet are different.
I know, that's why I said yards now, I'm changing it to yards.
yeah. That might be 60.
Okay,
Just so everybody knows, we're looking at it, we're gonna try to address this problem. Okay, so now we're at 16B1, resolution number 2026-34. Consideration and action to approve contractor's application for payment number 2 in the amount of $88,982.37.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-34.
I'll second.
Vote please. All in favor?
Just some other miscellaneous updates. Of course, planning commission's coming up. We do have a couple items that we're reviewing on behalf of the city for that. Have looked at a couple action items from last meetings, was looking at the Valley Shores culvert drainage. Mike and I are giving Mike some information. We gotta talk about that a little bit more on potential options for that. And then the park drainage of the basins. We have a concept that may work for that, so we can talk about that and costs and funding like that. So we will continue to do that. And then probably it's gonna roll into the budget workshop discussions that are coming up. So without happy to answer any of the questions you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you.
People service.
Good evening, everyone. Everybody got a copy of the monthly report from last month. Is there any questions on that before go into a couple specifics? Good. So as we covered from last month with the computer failures and stuff, that was in this month's report. Probably got to touch on what happened this weekend. I'm assuming I probably should do that now. It'll be in a monthly report next month, but we'll go ahead and do it now. So 4 a.m. Saturday morning, got a call that there was water leaking out and somebody ran over a fire hydrant. I don't even know, where are you at? There you are. I don't even know how this happens, but at 4 a.m., a trainee was being taught how to drive a tractor trailer. Right back here going down this road. They obviously turned the corner too sharp, wiped out the Cox pedestal and our hydrant. This is one of our older hydrants that does not have a breakaway, so it just tears the whole thing out. So it's a 4-inch main now, just dumping water out. Obviously, I dispatch employees to go work on it. Verba's called. They get there, they start trying to shut it down. The main going down Gardner has always been a challenge for us because there is some unknown line that feeds it. We're only as good as our maps, and we have never been able to shut that main down, ever. So we tried to cap it live, doing about 75 PSI, and what they're doing is they're putting a clamp on a pipe and then putting a cap on that clamp, right? So they're trying to shove it in this pipe. Well, at 70 PSI, it's not gonna happen. And this is after them spending 4 hours going around shutting off, I think, 18 valves, trying to get this to shut down, which of course inadvertently shut down people and shut down different parts of town. So we had no choice but to just lower the pressure of the entire town. Because I'm not gonna shut it off, because if we go below 20 PSI in the entire water system, then I have to issue boil water notices to the entire public. And we have to then sample all 15 of our sample sites 2 days in a row, and all of them have to come back clean. Lab isn't open until Monday. So a boil water notice would go all the way through Valley days, all the way until Wednesday of the next week if we pass those first all 30 samples, right? So taking all that into consideration, I'm not gonna just shut the town off so we can fix this. It took 5 minutes. So what I did is I went to the tower and I lowered the pressure in town until they could get that cap on. And then I brought the pressure right back up. So that's how we end up fixing that. That will be our plan moving forward for this main anymore, because I'm not gonna put interruptions to businesses or anybody down south, because now it's obviously known that that particular main from Spruce until halfway down Gardner, we cannot shut off. There's just no way to shut it off. There's a valve buried somewhere, there's a pipe going to it connected. Don't know. Although you're gonna ask me one of your hard questions. Moving forward, if we do have a break on this specific section, until we get it replaced in one of the phases, we will be addressing it the way that I did, because that's the most efficient way that we don't lose water to everybody or go into boil water notices. Looks like you got questions.
No, I'm glad we didn't have boil there.
We try to avoid that all the way around, right? Because that is just a huge mess. And they were able to get the cap on at about 35 PSI. So I took it down that far, they got the cap on, I brought it right back up. Back up to our 72, 73 PSI. Then the next day, of course, we have the water main break out there. Then of course they got shut off, and then right after that, the other one happened. They were still shut off. It just extended the time before we could restore the water to those businesses and all of Richmond, north of Richmond too, because this affects all of that Casey's, that whole section, plus all those businesses out there.
The residents.
All the residents there, yes. So, handled as many phone calls as we could. I personally went out and talked to all the businesses, just to notify them. I called them back when we restored water. Did that both times, so that they're aware they can at least plan. I gave them half an hour, to prepare the best that they could. Of course, some of them had to shut down because they can't have business without constant water. And then Monday, the same thing happened, but a couple feet down. So that's the same scenario. I had to shut it down, and they're out for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, when Mike sent me the text, I thought he was kidding. I go, are you kidding me?
No, so obviously we're gonna be looking at that, as we touched on earlier. We're gonna be looking at the condition of that pipe and how we can work that into a phase to maybe just do a section of that that's already broke, because 3 months ago we had that geyser, which is just right around the bend from where this broke. So, there have been several breaks right there in that section. So I don't have pictures of when that one happened, so I can't tell you the condition of the pipe, but.
But this has always been like that section around like Richmond and everything, like that area. It's always been one of our biggest problem areas, isn't it? And that's why we made it number 1.
Richmond Road has been the most water main breaks, yes, because it's concrete pipe. Some of the original pipe in town, I think. I don't have I don't know if that's a fact or not, but it's concrete pipe. So yes, we have had the most breaks there. And that's why we decided to replace that first, is so that we could stop the water main breaks. This is a different kind of pipe than what we're doing now. See, we're kind of trying to fix everything, but also deal with the current aging of our infrastructure, right? So you guys are doing a heck of a job of trying to catch up, but we also have to keep up. Hence my segue into the regional lift station when we found structurally, it was in the monthly report with because we are using sewer water to go through this. Well, that eats away at concrete and all the pipes, and after 20 years, that's also being affected now. And Craig's working with us to see how we can make those repairs. We do have a bypass plan in place, so if it does fail, we can continue to move, and nobody will be interrupted of service. But it's just one of those keeping up now, right? Because you guys we're all playing catch up last 80 years, but we also got to keep up what we have. Any other questions or anything?
No.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Please?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to start off tonight. I'd just like to thank Officer Jeff Willman, who was acted as the interim chief before I took over. Working with him for about the last week and a half, I learned that he took on a lot of duties that he didn't necessarily have to do. And it made really a pretty smooth transition for me. So I just want to say that I appreciate all his extra hard work that he put in. Report on National Night Out and Valley Days. Everything went well. We got to get out and meet a lot of people, and there were no significant events that happened out of that. So very happy about that. I promised you guys I would give you updates on what we're doing in the department. So right now, I do have active shooter training scheduled for the entire department, and that's going to take place before the end of August. Right now, I'm working on crisis intervention team training, which is mental health response. I'm hoping to have the entire department put through that by October. So still working on those. Right now, just today I began, it's going to be a significant review of our standard operating procedures. We need to make some additions and deletions and clarifications in that. So that's probably going to be a couple of month process on that, but started that today. Lastly, we are in the process of applying for a significant grant, which will help us purchase new body cameras, cruiser cameras, and possibly laptops for the cruisers. None of that equipment is inexpensive. So we are, the deadline on the grant application is September 1st. So there's 3 of us working on it to make sure we have all our I's dotted and T's crossed. If we can get that grant, that will be significant. So we don't have to ask for it in other places. And obviously, next month I'll keep you updated on the progress of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City, no, building and zoning. And we'll skip you, Dave.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. One thing I just had for today that I wanted to address, it's something that we worked on for the last few weeks and went out today. Between our department, Leah and I, and then Public Works, we had the Public Works guys go out and actually put ordinances into doors today. It's for tree trimming. I've received a couple questions on it, and I just wanted to address one thing to everyone that it is the, I guess, responsibility of the property owner to determine the tree, if it's on your site or the next. I know Tim went around and they put letters indoors, and I've received a couple calls of people saying that they have no trees in their yard. And going out and actually inspecting that, I found that to be true. And so if you did receive a letter, if anybody receives letters, you can address, or you can direct calls to myself or Leah. And we will come out and actually take a look to see, I guess, determine whose property the tree is on from there on site, or just in general, any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? Thank you.
City administrator?
Just a brief report on the swimming pool. We did complete our second open house on August 5th at the YMCA. At that meeting, the consultant went over the results of the survey to date, and we had 387 responses, which they are really excited about, to get that much participation in the survey. What we learned was recreational swimming, swimming lessons, birthday, private parties were the highest requested uses. And the most important things to those that responded was having zero depth entry, the kids features, the sprays, the toddler slide, family slide, splash features. Those were the things that they heard were requested the most. We presented 4 options to the public, incorporating as many of these features as possible. We also presented cost estimates for each option and the number of lifeguards likely needed. So in construction costs, the options ranged from $4 to $4.5 million up to $5 to $5.5 to $6 million. So the most expensive one. And then the number of lifeguards ranged from 6 to 7 to 7 to 8, depending upon which option is chosen. So we did start to get a little bit of detail on those options that we're looking at. So the next steps for the project is to approve the ballot initiative to split the sales tax, and that was done tonight. Thank you very much. We are waiting for the survey to be completed. August 21st is when we're going to wrap that up. The consultant in the meantime, actually this week, is going to film the presentation that he did on August 5th, so that we can put that on the city's website with a link that people can see everything that was presented. So that should help, again, help get the information out. The other thing we're talking about doing is another survey after August 21st, where we would just give information about each of the options and try to get some feedback from the public in terms of what do they want to see, so we can have some hard data on the information we get back. 300 and some people reply. That's a pretty good sample of the community. And they're doing that at no extra cost. I want to make sure you know that. We should receive the final report October 6th from the consultant. Then we really need to get to work on an educational program explaining the ballot issue, because as we've said many times, none of this is going to happen unless we can split the sales tax. Any questions?
So just to confirm, the current survey that we have on our website ends August 21st, and we're looking at sending out another survey for the community to vote on the features that they are wanting.
Correct.
So they do get a vote on what they would like to see.
Yes, and we might actually boil it down to the 4 options and have them vote on the options.
Okay.
So. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Next up, city attorney.
I don't have anything tonight, but I will take questions.
I have none. Any questions for us?
Nothing for me.
Okay, mayor's report. Cross connection control and lead line reporting. We need to get those surveys in, everybody. The cross connection one is for everyone to fill out, even if you have a new home, you have to fill it out. It's a state requirement. The lead line is more for the older homes, property built before the 80s, I believe.
88.
1988, okay.
Quiet. Do you mind if I?
Go ahead.
Well, I just want to make
Feel free.
a couple things clear. Both of them are EPA regulated. So our cross connection survey is to protect our system from what happened Saturday. That's a perfect example of why we need cross connection surveys for everybody to determine if they have anything in their homes. If we go below 20 PSI, it'll siphon from any source back into our water main. So if you got a hose on your hose bib filling your pool, and we have one of these events, it'll suck the water from that pool and put it into our water main. So that's why we're doing this, is to protect the community. So we need to make sure that people get that done. The lead line inventory is an EPA regulation that every municipality has to have an inventory of all of their service lines. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone by putting it all on one. And my phone number's on there. Several people have reached out to me, and I've worked with a lot of people. I can say a lot, but maybe 25, but who I've identified their size and their pipe size and their pipe material. And then I help them complete it on the phone while they go online. Some of them actually go online and do it while I'm on the phone with them, so I can answer some of their questions. But so that's this, this is a very serious thing, because if the city does not complete the lead line inventory to have our line replacement plan done by 2027, we will be facing regulation issues from the EPA. So that's why it's extremely clear, and also to protect our community, the cross connection surveys need to be done so we can make sure that nobody can contaminate our water if we have a low pressure event. So I just want to make it that.
Thank you.
It is serious.
Yes.
What's the deadline for this to be completed by?
The cross connection surveys are due every 5 years. We have inspections every 3 years. So, every 3 years, basically, because every inspection, we have to have our cross connection surveys on file and completed.
Is there a date though that we have to have it?
There
done
is
by?
not, it's just whenever the inspection is due, they have to be due every 5 years. So, we did them 5 years ago, we are doing them today, right? So they have to be completed by the time our next state inspection is, which is 2 years from now.
The sooner the better.
How do we tackle this with people that are landlords that probably don't even live in our town?
So I've spoken to a couple landlords, because they've obviously called me too, because I do know quite a few of them. You can do this either way, it's the owner's responsibility, to make it simple, because the EPA considers us, the city of Valley, to be the owner of the public water system, right? Our ordinance says we are to the curb stop. Okay, so from the curb stop to the house, we're not responsible for it, right? Okay, but the EPA says, no, you have to answer these questions. We don't care how you do it. You have to get it done. I always tell the story of the small town where the guy set up the council and said, I'll shut your water off if you don't have it done in a week. And they haven't done it in a week. But because the city is the one who is on the line here, not the homeowner. So you just need to do it. So here are our steps.
What I'm saying is like people that own property in this town that don't even live here. I mean, we even have businesses on the street where the owner doesn't even own an estate.
They go to so here's our steps, is we try to eliminate mailing these, right? Because that's $4,000 to $5,000 every time, okay? We try to eliminate that by doing it online, by promoting it on social media, having people willingly go do it, okay? Because when
And I talk about it at every meeting.
and at every outing, everywhere we go, ask my neighbor, I'm on his butt to get it done too.
Well, Lori was actually out in front of City Hall this weekend.
Yeah.
Stopping people,
Yeah.
talking to them.
Answering the
And
questions.
she also was down at Valley Lakes at the Pancake Feed. And she was out here at the car show too.
So then our next step is to mail them out to every water bill. So whoever pays the water bill, then will get the survey. So it's up to them to figure it out. I mean, this is in every town, this is all across America.
We
This
can
is
only
not
do so
something
much.
specific just to Valley. So our next step is to mail them out.
So you're saving taxpayer money if we don't have to mail them. That's what we're saving.
Mhm.
Look at it that way. You're saving yourself money. Okay, that's it for my report. Upcoming items, planning commission is August 18th at 4:30. Our budget workshop will be August 17th at 7. And if needed, there'll be another budget workshop August 24th at 7. I look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Vote, please. All in favor? Thank you.
Hey, Mike. I asked you very much straight. This one here.
We act like everybody knows what shit is.
Well, city.